Good morning, dear students. This is Suman Parshira, Digit English, KVOCF Sector 29B, Chandigarh. And I hope during this time of COVID, you all are taking very good care of yourselves at home. Be safe, be healthy. So, dear students, today we are going to start with a very interesting topic. But before we proceed further, I would like all of you to perform an activity at home. And to perform the activity, we need a glass full of water, a pencil, a scale, and a coin. Now, let's start with the activity. Now, let's take the pencil first. Observe its shape. Now, put the pencil inside the glass full of water. Observe the pencil, dear children, and tell me, how does it look? It looks little bent. Now, let's take the scale. Observe the shape of scale. Now put the scale inside the glass full of water and tell me, how does it look? The scale looks little broader in shape. Now let's see what happens with the coin. This is the real shape of the coin, shape and size. Now put the coin inside the glass full of water. Observe the coin and tell me, how does it look? The coin looks little bigger in size and it is also lifted from the bottom. It appears to be lifted from the bottom. So, dear students, through this activity we come to know how the objects of specific size and shape appear to be different when we put them inside the glass full of water. And this is what the theme of our today's topic, dear children. It is appearances versus reality. Now, can you tell me which scientific phenomenon is used in this activity? Yes, it is refraction of light. So, dear children, today under collaborative teaching learning process, we performed a small activity of science to understand the concept of our English topic, which was appearances versus reality. Now, let's start with our today's topic. The Tale of Custard the Dragon by Ogden Nash. This is the 10th poem of your book, First Flight. Tale of Custard the Dragon by Ogden Nash. This poem is written in the form of a ballad, and a ballad is a song or poem that tells a story. You must be familiar with ballads that narrate tales of courage or heroism. This poem is a humorous ballad close to a parody, and parody means deliberate exaggeration for comic effect. Read it aloud, paying attention to the rhythm. So, dear students, let's first read about the poet. And this is the picture of the poet Ogden Nash, and he was born on August 19, 1902 and was died on May 19, 1971. He was an American poet, well known for his light verse, of which he wrote over 500 pieces. Now, let's read about the gist of the poem. It is a humorous poem about a dragon named Custard. Custard is a pet of Belinda, a little girl who lives in a little white house with her pets. She had a black kitten named Ink, a grey mouse named Blink, a yellow dog, Mustard, and a cowardly dragon, Custard. The poet says that all of them are very brave except the dragon. Others were described as brave and are compared with animals like bear, tiger, or lion. But the dragon is very timid. All the other characters make fun of him. But one night they are surprised by the entry of a pirate in the house. All of them get frightened and start hiding here and there. But to everyone's surprise, the dragon not only tackles him, but also gobbles the pirate up. Custard the dragon saved life of all. Let's start with the poem. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse and a little yellow dog and a little red wagon and a realio trulio little pet dragon. And here goes the explanation. The poet says there was a girl named Belinda who used to live in a little white house. And she had a few pets along with her, and the pets were a little black kitten, a little grey mouse, a little yellow dog, and a realio trulio little pet dragon. Here, dear children, in these two words, realio and trulio, the poet has used poetic license and he has changed the spelling of real and true into realio and trulio to bring some rhythm in the poem. So, what do we come to know from the first stanza? We come to know that there was a girl named Belinda who would live in a little white house along with her pets named a black kitten, a grey mouse, yellow dog, and real and true little pet dragon. And she had a little red wagon also. And wagon means a cart, a kind of a vehicle, as you can see in the picture here. So Belinda was having a little cart also. Let's discuss the rhyming scheme and the poetic devices used in first stanza. As we all know, dear children, to find out the rhyming scheme, we have to see the last words of each line. So, the last word of first line is house. The last word of second line is mouse. And the last word of third line is wagon. And the last word of fourth line is dragon. And the rhyming scheme always starts with A. So A will be the rhyming scheme for the first line. And house is being rhymed with mouse. So same A will be the rhyming scheme for second line. Wagon is not being rhymed with house and mouse. So its rhyming scheme will be B. And wagon is being rhymed with dragon. So here Dragon will also have the same rhyming scheme like wagon. So the rhyming scheme of the first stanza is AA, BB. Let's discuss the poetic devices used in the stanza. The first poetic device used here is repetition. And here you can see, dear children, the little word is used many a times. So this is the example of repetition. And the second poetic device which is used here is assonance. And the assonance is the repetition of the vowel sounds. And as we can see here, in the whole stanza, I sound is very much prominent. So this is the example of assonance. Everywhere, I sound is very much prominent. And the third poetic device which is used in the stanza is consonance. And the consonance is the repetition of the consonant sounds in the beginning, middle, or at the end of or more consecutive words. And as we can see here, in the whole stanza, L sound is very much prominent. Belinda lived little, little, black, little, again little, yellow, little, relio, trulio, little. So here L sound is very much prominent. So this is the example of consonance. And the next poetic device which is used here is anaphora. And dear children, anaphora means the repetition of the same words in two or more consecutive lines. And here you can see in the third and fourth line and a words are being repeated in third or fourth lines beginning. So this is the example of anaphora. And the next poetic device which is used in the same stanza is oxymoron. And oxymoron means when two contradictory words are used together. And here you can see in the last two words, pet dragon. And we all know that dragon is a fierce animal which could not be kept as a pet. So this is the example of oxymoron. Let's read the second stanza. Now the name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse, she called him Blink. And the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard, but the dragon was a coward, and she called him Custard. Let's start with the explanation of second stanza. So, dear children, in the second stanza, we come to know about the names of Belinda's pets. The name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the name of little grey mouse was Blink, and the name of little yellow dog was Mustard, and the dragon, who used to be considered coward by Belinda and the other creatures in the house, she used to call him Custard. And here, coward means a person who gets easily scared with things, who gets easily afraid of things. That person is called coward. And everybody used to consider the dragon as a coward in the house. Now, let's start with the poetic device, and the discussion of rhyming scheme in the second stanza. So, dear children, firstly we'll discuss the rhyming scheme again. So, again we have to see the last words of each line, and you can see here ink and blink are rhyming with each other, and mustard and custard are rhyming with each other. So here, if you remember, in the previous stanza, the rhyming scheme was AABB. So here, it will start with C. Ink. We will give C to ink, and blink is rhyming with ink. So again, it will be C. Mustard is not rhyming with ink and blink. So it will be D. And custard is rhyming with mustard. So it will again be D. So here, dear children, we found that the rhyming scheme of the second stanza is CC, D, D. Now let's discuss the poetic devices used in second stanza. So the first poetic device which is used in second stanza is simile. And let's come to the third line, dear children. Dog was sharp as mustard. And what is simile? Simile is the comparison of two things by using the word like or as. In simple language, the comparison between two things by using the word like or as. And here in this line, we could see that the dog is being compared with mustard crop. The yellow dog is being compared with mustard crop. So this is the example of simile here. And the next poetic device which is used in the second stanza is alliteration. And let's come to the last line here. Covered k, called k, and custard k. Here k sound is very much prominent, and the alliteration means the repetition of the consonant sounds in the beginning of two or more consecutive words. So here k, k, k sound is very much prominent. So this is the example of alliteration. Let's discuss the third stanza, dear children. Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth, and spikes on top of him, and scale underneath. Mouth like a fireplace, chimney for a nose, and a Relio Trulio daggers on his toes. Let's start with the explanation of the third stanza. Here, firstly, we will discuss about the difficult word meanings. Spikes means sharp pointed end. Chimney means a pipe through which smoke of steam is carried up. Dagger means a type of knife used as a weapon. Now let's start with the explanation of the stanza. Here the poet says, Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth. So in the stanza, dear children, we will come to know about the physical appearance of the custard. And the poet says, Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth, and spikes on the top of him and scales underneath. On the top of this dragon, he was having the spikes. His top of the body was having the sharp pointed ends, as you can see in the picture here. And he had scales underneath. And underneath his body, as you can see here, like the reptiles you would have seen in the body of lizards or the snakes or the crocodiles, they have these scales in their bodies. So in the same way, the dragon is also having scales underneath his body. And his mouth was like a fireplace, because from his mouth fire used to come out. So that's why the poet says that his mouth was like a fireplace, and chimney for a nose, and from his nose the smoke used to come out. That's why the poet is calling his nose as chimney. And Relio Trulio daggers on his toes, and his toes were so sharp. They were like real and true daggers, real and true knives. So this is how the dragon looks. Now let's discuss the rhyming scheme and the poetic device of third stanza. Let's start with the poetic device. Again, we have to see the last two words of each line: teeth, underneath, nose, toes. So here the rhyming scheme will be E, E, teeth, underneath, F, F. So the rhyming scheme of the stanza is E, E, F, F, dear children. Now let us quickly discuss the poetic devices used in third stanza. In the third stanza, again, simile is used. Come to the third line, mouth like a fireplace. Here, dear children, the mouth of dragon is compared with fireplace by using the word like. So this is the example of simile. And the second poetic device which is used in the stanza is metaphor. And the metaphor is again the comparison between two things without using the word like or as. And here comes this line in the third stanza again, chimney for a nose. Here the poet is comparing the nose of the dragon with chimney, but without using the word like or as. So this is the example of metaphor. Let's start with the next stanza. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears, and ink and blink chased lions down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Now let's start with the explanation of the stanza, dear children. So here in the stanza we come to know about the characteristics of the creatures who were living in that little white house. Let's start with Belinda first. So the poet says, Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. And barrel means a large round container for liquid, for storing liquid. So Belinda was as brave as a large container which could be full of bears. She was as brave as the barrel full of bears. And ink and blink chased lion down the stairs. And ink and blink were so brave that they can easily chase the lions down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage. And on the other hand, Mustard the dog was also a brave creature, and his bravery was equal to the bravery of a tiger in anger. Rage means anger. But Custard cried for a nice safe cage. But as we come to know in the previous stanzas also that the custard used to be considered as a coward. So that's why Custard used to always cry for a nice, safe cage. Let's start with the rhyming scheme and the poetic devices discussion of the stanza. And the rhyming scheme: bears, stairs, rage, cage, G, G, H, H. So rhyming scheme of the stanza will be G, G, H, H. Now, dear children, let's start with discussing the poetic device of the stanza. And here, the first poetic device which is used is alliteration. And alliteration means the repetition of the consonant sound in the beginning of the two or more consecutive words. And let's see the first line. In the first line, dear children, B, 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 B sound is very much prominent. Belinda, brave, barrel, bears. So this is the example of alliteration. And the next poetic device, which is used here again in the first line, is simile. Belinda was as brave as barrel full of bears. So here Belinda was being compared with the barrel full of bears. And this comparison is made by using the words as. Belinda was as brave as. So this is the example of simile. And the third poetic device which is used here again is alliteration. And it could be seen in the last line. Custard cried. Cage. Alliteration again is the repetition of the consonant sound in the beginning of two or more consecutive words. So here in the last line, k, k sound is very much prominent. So this is the example of alliteration. Dear children, let's start with the recapitulation of whatever we learned so far by thinking critically and creatively. So there will be a short quiz for you people, and in the quiz you will see some CCT based questions also. Let's start with the quiz. The first question is match the following. Here you have to match the names of Belinda's pets. Take your time. And the right answer is this. Ink is kitten, mustard is dog, blink is mouse, and custard is dragon. Second question. Study of animals is called. Options are biology, zoology, botany, meteorology. And the correct answer is zoology. Third question. It will hone your mathematical skills, dear children. And the question is, a pirate is 1000 miles away from dragon. which is moving with 50 miles per second speed. How much time will dragon take to reach the pirate? And the answer will be 20 seconds. Fourth question. What is the tone of the poem A Tale of Custard the Dragon? And the options are pessimistic, optimistic, courageous, or humorous. And the correct answer is humorous. Next question. Find out the poetic device of the following lines in red color. And the little grey mouse she called her Blink, and the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard. And here the options are alliteration, metaphor, anaphora, and assonance. The correct answer is anaphora. Next question. What is a group of dragons called? Options are thunder, slither, flame, flock. And the correct answer is thunder. Now here, dear children, there's a little task for you people. You have to think of a suitable idiom for the poem. And this is your homework. There are two questions. First question is, analyze that certain quality like bravery and courage are situational or spontaneous. Express your views with reference to the poem. And the second question is, do you think that one should be made fun of because of their preferences and choice in life? Explain in the context of Custard the Dragon. That's all for today, dear children. I hope you would have understood the poem very well, and very soon I will come up with the second part of the poem.